countdown. Alright, so 3.
Oh shit, we're 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
Just keep this in. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to the, I believe this is the 19th episode of the No Name Podcast.
I also believe so.
With your hosts, Mrmoopsy, and their fellow co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, boys.
Hey, it's Cosmic Jazz. And I can happily say that I now have all my social media as Cosmic Jazz. Thank you, PSN.
Hooray.
My name is Baker. I, too, can finally have at least all of my social medias and everything have Baker in it at least, because what I changed my PSN to is highly pretentious and it's awesome.
Wasn't it like Superior Baker or something like that?
No, it's Baker the Manji God.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Nice. It fits you.
And we may or may not have a fourth host, but honestly, we're not holding our breath. So anyway.
Definitely not.
Jazz, would you be so kind as to let the fine people know what our schedule is?
Alright, so we finally get the true answer about Anthem today. We do our thoughts on Google Stadia, which might just be me. I don't know how much y'all know about that. We're going to talk about Borderlands 3, the conference, the good things, the bad things, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about Sekiro, and our games should have a difficulty setting, and their thing is standard and all that stuff. And we're going to talk about early Evo registration leaderboards. So, let's hit the first one with Anthem, their favorite game that everybody likes to shit on. Yay!
I'm so excited. Can't you tell in my voice? I swear I could be in the movies.
But yeah, this one in particular, I'm definitely going to make sure I post the actual article about this one, because it's what we're going to say is definitely like worth noting, but at the same time, you need to read the article on this one, because it gets really bad.
Link that shit then.
Yeah.
Links below.
While I look for that, I'm going to go ahead and... Have y'all heard about it before I start on that?
I
Very little.
I stopped listening to Anthem like ages ago.
So...
It's very... I've learned very little about it. It's kind of like what they did with Destiny 2. It's like they had this idea for years, and it's just like, all right, we're on the proper track, and then something happens, and they're just like, tear it all down, let's get out of here.
Actually, I will say, because I did hear about the layoffs.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
That it?
That's about it. That's
I thought there was more. It was
It had the tone of a continuous thought, so I thought you were like, oh yeah, and another thing.
No, I thought I said it like in a tone of like, okay, well, this is the one point I do know.
Okay, so it kind of goes with what Eddie's saying, but it goes way deeper than that. So
Conspiracy.
it did happen to where they got to a point and then they kind of just stopped. And then they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And then in come, I think a year ago, when they showed the big one, when they showed Anthem. It might be 2 years ago. But it was then where they actually finally knew what they were building. So they've been working on this game apparently for 6 years or whatever. But they didn't really start on the game until a year and a half, maybe.
God damn it.
Yeah, like they had the production, they had the development progress going smoothly.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then, like, part way really close to it, they're just like, all right, let's just take everything, right, and just delete System 32 and then just win with it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Like, I'm not kidding, but they saw something at E3, and it was like, oh, that's the game we're building. Okay, we'll start on that.
Like, oh, so that's what we're doing. Whoops.
So, like, is it possible that, like, this version of Anthem isn't even the original Anthem?
No, definitely not.
It most definitely is not the original.
Wow, it's a video game case of stolen identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's a bastardized version of it.
Absolutely.
And it's not even the developer's fault on that one either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a surprise!
I mean, so much things went wrong. I mean, let's go with the fact that the CEO didn't even like the first build of it, and it was like, this thing sucks. Oh shit, well, what are we gonna do now? I don't know, what are we gonna do? And then they added jetpacks. Oh, that sounds cool. Let's keep that in there. Okay. I don't like the jetpacks anymore. Oh shit. Actually, traveling is not that great. Let's put the jetpacks back in.
It's like, make up your fucking mind, goddamn.
This is precisely how it went.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what a shit show. And I also, like, I never heard, like, delve that deep into the actual articles, but I did hear about how, like, fucking, like, the devs were just miserable fucking making the game.
Oh, absolutely.
They were just kind of like, man, I fucking had depression, I was, like, overworked and fucking, like, not getting enough rest and all this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of that. Every single bit of it. Mm-hmm. And
it's just kind of like the Mr. fucking Mr. EA is just there fucking like lapping up whatever fucking praise that like all the devs do, and it's just kind of like I don't need you guys. It's just like, well, fucking make your own goddamn game then.
Now I will say, according to the article, which is why I say read the article, this isn't all EA's fault. Some of this is on BioWare's too.
What a twist.
No. Like EA in current year. Isn't the horrible company that everybody is trying to make them out to be?
Yeah,
they had this idea and they're just like, okay, clearly this isn't working like we wanted to anymore. We need to move on to something else. And then they're doing their best from the point. I forgot the name of that one co-op game.
What's
where
that?
You're in the prison.
Yeah.
A Way Out, yeah. Like around that time is when EA was like, okay, we need to get ourselves back on track because we're putting too much of our hands into this. We need to let the money make itself.
Exactly.
And so far they've been doing that. Mm-hmm. Like their future IPs are definitely going to be a product of that in the future. Mm-hmm. It's just
so like the consumers have actually started to like scare EA enough so that they're actually trying to do other stuff and they're trying to be like good again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, if they're going for that, props. But it's gonna be, it's like, I guess I'll put it this way, because I remember I was talking about this with Jazz the other day. That is like it's taken Capcom basically 7 years to fix essentially most of the fuck ups of what the shit they pulled in 2012.
Mm.
EA's been doing this shit for longer, so they're gonna have to work fucking harder.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they're doing decently fine.
It's a start. It's a start. Yeah. I will not take that away from them.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also got a pretty bad history to sort of like correct. Mm-hmm. So they definitely have their work cut out for them.
Oh, absolutely. But I'd like just to also put that point of it's not all EA's fault. You remember that thing I just told you about the CEO coming and being like, I don't like this? So if you read the article, apparently one of the ideas that like the regular team was working on, they got scrapped by the leaders of the team BioWare. And then they actually ended up putting that back after the CEO said the game sucked. And then the CEO said, oh, it's good now. It's actually kind of playable. And then they kept going back and forth with the team as far as the leaders go in BioWare and the actual team itself to keep telling them no and yes and no when they should have just listened to the team in the first place from what it looks of it.
So it's not necessarily like just the CEO of EA. It's kind of like a mishmash between the CEO and like the head of BioWare. It was like when one's fucking up, the other one tells them to fix it, but then the other one like sort of like after they fix it, then the other one comes in and tells them they're fucking up.
Exactly. That's what I say. It's not all EA's fault, and it got to the point where EA, like any business, really would be like, okay, we got to put something out. We spend so much money on this.
Yeah, because it's also like it's a string of like it's a string of people not being happy, and these like are the people that are like super big up in the companies.
Mm-hmm. That's I just want to make that clear. It's not all EA's fault.
Like, you gotta keep this in mind too. It's just like you guys have heard us like rag on EA for ages. If it's fucking not EA's fault, it has to be pretty significant.
Exactly.
It's just like it's like, oh, you know what? A prime great example of how EA's trying to turn it around. Apex Legends.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Although I will fight on that because of the devs not even telling them what the game was at first.
Oh, because the devs is just like, we're working on something. And EA's just like, hey, what are you working on? Hey, mind your business.
Exactly. And even then, that kind of hurt them a little bit in the long run because kind of same concept a little bit with shooting and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
But I mean, because I will say that it's like the problem is that like the shooting genre has been like one of the most dominant genres for like the past like 2 console generations. Which is kind of problematic. But I mean, hey, as long as freaking they're like EA's like willing to put in the work, or at least like let the devs be the devs, and they put out good products and shit, I'll be skeptical, but I'll be willing to fucking hear them out.
yeah.
Definitely.
Because like fucking, like they fucking made one of my favorite games of all time, so it's just kind of like, ugh, I can't trust you guys.
Although I do say E3 is going to be interesting since they're not going to have an actual conference. They are going to have a presence there, but not a conference, so it's going to be interesting.
I mean, after that last conference, can you blame them?
No, definitely not. Woof. Talk about a shit show. But no, definitely read the article. There's so much stuff in there about how bad Anthem literally was from start to finish. And, well, I say finish, somewhat finish. No, is there anything else you want to say on Anthem?
I'm glad you got me the Division 2.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Happy Kwanzaa. What? Makes that sense. But, I guess we can move on to Stadia then.
Alrighty then.
So, I am of 2 minds of this. Now, before I even go any further, how much do y'all know about Stadia?
I don't know that much.
Basically nothing.
So, basically, it's like
Mrmoopsy levels of research.
it's basically streaming service, a streaming of games and whatnot. The big hook is like you can basically play it on any Google device or whatever. So if you have Google Chrome, you can play it on there. If you have a Google phone or whatever, you can play on that. Google TV, stream it on that, and it's supposed to be seamless and all this stuff. And another example is that if you say you're watching somebody on YouTube play the game, like say Eddie, for example, is streaming Tekken, and he's got a lobby, and it's like, I want to play with Eddie. I can literally like click on this little tab, and it will automatically put me in the game and to a lobby where he's in.
So it would probably, if for this hypothetical, they would have to end up making like a 3rd version or like another version of Tekken, so that it's compatible with this system.
Well, yes and no. Technically, they could, because they're already doing it with older games to make it integrated into Stadia. So, technically, no. Technically, yes. They probably just have to patch it a bit. But, it's an interesting concept, I'll say that.
Right, of course. That's just one game specifically. We're talking about like the idea for a brand new console here.
Yeah, like, literally. Which, funny enough, technically isn't even a console. But,
I mean, yeah, technically.
But as you probably can understand, everybody's extremely skeptical about this thing. Not only because it's a streaming service. I mean, if anybody has Netflix, you know how that goes just on its own. But on the same fact of this has already been tried before with another, quote, console called the OU? Something OUYA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah!
Oh, hi, Mike.
Exactly. But like this has already been tried before, and like it failed miserably.
It fizzled out pretty hard, yeah.
It's super hard. Not alone the fact that they didn't really. I don't know if they really got into the internet speed things that would be needed, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where even if you do, a lot of places just don't have that yet. They don't have the, quote, Google Fiber, I think they're talking about, or whatever.
Oh, Google Fiber? Oh,
well,
man.
That's the, quote, blah standard thing. Like, oh, yeah, whatever. Just have this kind of streaming thing or whatever. But like, there's that problem of not even having the right speeds in your area. There's the problem of having caps, like I have, where I can only hit a certain amount of data before I have to pay extra. There's a whole nother thing of like the lag input that they didn't really talk about. Which, you know, like any fighting game, this is not 60 frames or something, you gonna feel that shit. If you don't believe me, let me go back to that whole PS1 classic thing. Just go there, you'll understand.
You will feel it in your soul.
Exactly. So like, yeah, a lot of people are extremely skeptical about this. The only thing that even makes me really kind of like look into it really is the fact that it's Google. And Google practically owns the world at this point.
Like one of two companies, because there's
Yeah.
also Disney.
I'm willing to steal your products for money, Google. Please read this.
So you know what's funny about that, Moops? Google could legit buy Disney if it wanted to right now.
Damn.
That's how high they are, basically. But like, that's the only real reason. Like, if anybody's gonna have the money to really get this working, it probably would be them. At the same time, I'm still extremely skeptical because I doubt they're gonna be able to put like servers everywhere so that could work. Plus, with the whole what's that thing that recently happened? Net neutrality thing still going on and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a massive shit show and everything.
Good news on that. Congress is voting to make that, I don't want to say a federal crime, but that big tooth faggot. I'm sorry.
I mean, he deserves it. I'm sorry.
Well, what's his name? Legit die?
Like, I think his name was Jeet. I don't know his last name. That's why I called him.
Like, yeah, like the joke was like, I remember one of the comments was like, a Jit Pie needs to legit die.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that dude. I think Congress voted to keep it neutral. And
Hey, government actually working for once.
I know, right? But I think a lot of people that were fighting for it wants to take it a step further and put them under investigation.
I mean,
like Jazz, it's like the fucking like the timer from Pacific Rim is like whenever they do something useful, reset the clock.
I know, right? Let's see how long it takes the next time. Let's go. Like, actually, I'm not surprised though that you said they're trying to investigate him after the fact that they found out that he was working for Verizon before he got to where he was. So there's a good chance he was working for the other side, if you get my drift.
He was colluding with the cable companies to have them practically take over the world.
Yeah.
Or be able to bottleneck what they don't like, and then try to push what they do like.
I mean, I'll just say this because I feel like we're getting off topic. Is like these like the administration's corrupt as fuck. So let's just go back to like Google and shit we were talking about.
Yeah, but just your thoughts on it.
Thoughts on what?
Stadia.
Oh, hey man, everyone's gonna be skeptical about it, but shit, man, if there's anybody that can make it successful, it's Google.
The thing is though that I feel like there's like a decent chunk of factors there. I'm not saying it's impossible for them to enter into the console war, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
like there are hurdles that it has to go through, and there are even some things that like some obstacles that they have to hope that it goes a specific way, because if things stack up against them, like they'll just be wasting a shit ton of money that they shouldn't really have to waste. Like, I'm not saying that they don't have the money. I'm just saying though that is like, if things don't go their way, they'll have to be willing to spend like a shit ton more than they really need to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd say I agree with everything you have said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's like they can't take the idea of nigga I'm Google and just expect shit to work like that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're stepping into a brand new world, And I don't know if they've been paying attention to what was going on, or maybe like what just happened in this podcast. But people are voting with their wallets, and if they don't like it, we won't buy it.
Exactly. I don't even think they've given a subscription price yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's also gonna be like super important. Because like one of the things about it that's problematic for Google is that like a way I would probably phrase it is they're jumping in to the middle of a battle royale that's already started.
Exactly. It's been going on for years.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, unless you guys fucking manage to find like the perfect gun right on the spot, you guys are gonna be pretty screwed.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard out here for you.
Seriously.
No, I love though that the quote, I forgot the exact term for it, but it's like sponsor talk or something like that. It's a term for it, but I love that they immediately went to, this is going to be more powerful than current gen consoles like the Xbox One and the PS4. I'm just thinking to myself, we're literally going into the next generation of consoles in like probably a year. So
like 2 years, 3 years top, yeah.
Yeah, so that says next to nothing to me right now.
That says, congratulations, you're gonna be standard.
Exactly. Whoop-de-doo.
By the time your shit comes out, you're already going to be the previous gen.
Exactly.
Basically, I mean, that's what happens with like the whole PC versus console war.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, speaking of that one. Yeah, but any other thoughts on Stadia?
Nah, I don't have any more thoughts on it.
It's one of those things where it's just kind of like at the moment there's really not much you can go off of. And we still have to see how like some of the other companies stack up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's like, if somehow like things were like just like standard, so to speak, like PS4 or and Xbox and Nintendo are just kind of like just cruising on through like as is, and then Stadia comes in, maybe they would have a shot. But since we're expecting the next gen consoles to appear sometime soon, anything could happen, honestly. They might be like they might replace a contender, or they might be like a surprising like fourth member, or they could just be like, fuck, you guys were like essentially useless.
Because I will say one other thing I did find appealing was the fact that it wasn't really using like CPU power stuff, according to them anyway. Like, so like you can do it like an old rig, like practically what I used to have way back when. I could still play games on it as if I was on a high powered rig. So it's just like, that's interesting. But at the same time, streaming.
Yeah.
Streaming is already such a volatile thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like the streaming services in like streaming to Twitch and like the streaming of the actual games and stuff like that might be top tier. But then like a lot of the other basic ass stuff is gonna be like stupid unacceptable. You never know.
Yep. So I think we're calling that. Now let's get on to a fun topic of Borderlands 3.
Battle Royale.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I don't think anybody would.
But yeah, I actually didn't catch the conference when it was happening. I caught it after the fact. And I don't think they're going to be doing that again. And they are.
There was parts that was fucking cringy as fuck.
Oh, absolutely. Like the card trick and everything. Even the cameraman kind of fucked that up.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jess, pick a card. You're going to keep that shit away from me.
But I think the biggest problem with it was the end, which is one of those things I was telling Mrmoopsy about the other day, which was literally, that's rule number one if you like go to a conference of any kind. Bring your own stuff. Don't let the other people do it, because their stuff sucks. They're not going to get it to the standard that you want it to. Trust me.
So they probably don't even care. They've already got your money.
When you say other people, what do you mean?
Like the actual conference itself. Like normally
like the people hosting the event.
Yeah. Like normally they have setups and stuff just in case if you need to do a PowerPoint thing or something like that. They have something for you. But it's never going to be nearly as good as what you could have brought yourself.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
And that could have been, it couldn't have been better highlighted than at this conference, where literally they tried to do the same trailer like 4 or 5 times, and it kept getting laggy. And
it's like the same spot.
Exact same spot. And I understand like the whole roasting thing of him being like, man, next time we're gonna bring our own thing. It's like, yeah, you should have did it this time.
It's like he's probably like trying to laugh at himself to lessen the situation. Meanwhile, the whole fucking crowd is just like glaring icy daggers at him. It's like, it's not funny, motherfucker.
Actually, some of them was like, damn, he said that shit. They are not coming back here.
It'd be funny if it was like someone in the audience was like, you're pathetic.
Alright, so hot take, right? You know how in today's age, everybody is just awkward as shit, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What if that was just a marketing scheme?
See, I would think that if it wasn't for memes.
Oh, memes. Or just meme the shit out of themselves, man. Memes is taking over the world, you know, unless you're in the EU.
Oh, no. And our government strikes again. But I would also fight against that because of another thing that actually goes in the bad column on this one.
Okay.
I mean, like, I know that, like, the director, for, like, Gearbox and stuff, he's kind of like notoriously a bit of a douche.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a troll, like absolute troll. But yeah, the reason I go against that is because of another announcement that happened after the conference that really made people upset, and that was the Epic Games exclusivity deal.
Oh yeah,
that.
So I don't think they would have done that on purpose because of that.
Yeah, you can't like throw memes into this category. This is more of like, yay, we're fucking being paid to do this.
Plus, like, you can see it in his face. Like, it was literally one of those, I really wanted this to be the best it could be. Probably because of that. It's like, now it looks like a glitchy piece of shit. Thanks a lot, conference.
And Epic's just kind of like, God damn it, we wasted our money on these guys.
They're probably just like, more exclusivities, come on, man.
I mean, hey, say what you want. Say what you want, but any reputable game company. Alright.
Really? Okay. Yeah, he took you on that. You can't deny him. Technically, he's not wrong in this situation.
Jesus Christ, Moose, can you leave your personal fetishes out of this for once? For fucking once? We're trying to be like halfway professionals, and you're like
only halfway. Remember that.
Oh, so that's where the bar is.
I disavow. I disavow this, all of this.
I want to be in the Church of Aura.
You're fucking a heretic of the Church. You are a fucking heretic.
Oh man.
Go ahead.
I lost my point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I had something and I lost it.
Yeah, let me see, because we were talking about like exclusivity and shit.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yo, these people are saving their money for this. All right, you can't go against that. These guys are just doing whatever they can to spend the least amount of money while trying to make the most amount of money that they can.
So, I think the thing that people, other than that, are mad about is how the Epic Store is at its current state. Which is, if you look at them neck for neck, Steam is definitely the better with all the options and whatnot. Now, that being said, like you said, Epic is giving them what they want, and Steam really needs to fucking catch up at that point. Like, I'm surprised nobody's really fighting Steam on this. But I guess people are just rage culture at the time. You know how it is. Either way.
Because there is one thing about it, is because they're right to challenge Steam, and Steam is being stupid because they're just kind of like, oh, fucking Epic's just fucking popular because of Fortnite. You know, nobody's gonna give a shit about them in the long run. Like, they got their heads up their asses. The problem is that I know that there's like some parts that are stupid weak for Epic Games, like the launcher and shit. Because like it's, if I remember correctly, like the store's not that great. The launcher, it can be pretty buggy.
Yes, it
Customer
can.
service, customer service is basically non-existent,
Yeah.
and it is like stupid easy how people can try to freaking like try to hack your account to try and get in.
Exactly.
Like what was it? Like Raz and I, when we were playing Fortnite for a while, there was like right before I ended my subscription and everything, because I'm one of the lucky ones. Right before I ended my subscription, I kept getting emails about someone trying to log in, and I wasn't sure if it was like something that was going on with my computer or someone was trying to hack me. Like the dude kept like trying to enter and was not getting in successfully. And then after a point, I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck this. I don't even play Fortnite anymore. And so like I fucking closed that account. But it still took like, what was it? Like 2 to 3 weeks before I could actually manage to get in contact with someone and actually close that account.
I actually did not go through that at all. Playing Fortnite, what, on your PC?
Yeah.
Yeah, even then, in the cases that I was playing Fortnite on my PC, I wasn't going through anything like that. I weren't getting anything about people trying to get into my account. Why would they want to get into my account anyway?
Oh yeah, like that's why I wasn't worried, because I hadn't put in like any credit card information or anything like that. But because this was like big around the time when people like kept trying to hack into accounts so that they could steal like the credit card information and all that stuff. Like I wasn't worried because I didn't put anything in, but like the security system that was in place was like, it was pretty minimal and pretty pathetic, honestly.
Was it was this before they had two-factor authentication?
I believe yes.
Yeah, it was.
Because like that's when it was at its biggest, that people kept trying to like hack other people's information.
All because you're over here smacking niggas up in Fortnite.
Pretty much, because this was like fucking when like every other week you'd hear like a story about like someone got their fucking information stolen.
And it wasn't me, because I don't play Fortnite. Cha-ching.
For me, it was just kind of like I play Fortnite on occasion, but it doesn't affect me because I fucking haven't bought anything.
His shit got hacked. But yeah, back to Borderlands 3 though. Because of that, this became a whole other debacle thing with itself. Because, once again, rage culture being rage culture, they went to Steam and they review bombed the other 2 Borderlands games.
Yep.
And that was done on so many. It's definitely not cool in any way, shape, or form. It's actually very dumb, but it's just like at the same time, it doesn't help the fact that Randy Pitchford is his name. He kind of fired back on the whole, like, well, I'm glad it's on Epic now because of this. And he didn't really look into the fact that Steam actually has a way of fighting this that actually happened like a couple weeks before this even happened. Which is basically they have some kind of system where you can tell this is like review bombing shit and whatnot, and it gets taken to another section of the review things, so you don't see those unless you want to. And they basically use that as their solution of saying, hey, we're not deleting people's stuff, but at the same time, we're not letting them allow you to mitigate what this game is, basically, off of this kind of bullshit review stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, because like at least like because that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Steam's on top of that.
Yeah.
I don't know, like from what I've seen, fucking it seems like Randy Pitchford fucking seems to have this like air of like he sees himself as like the misunderstood like artist / genius, and I'm just kind of like, oh, fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I see both sides, because on the one hand, I kind of see why he's angry. Like, why are you hating on these games that were great? And like,
yeah, it's like that's fair, but like the way he goes about some of this stuff, it's super super easy to hate him.
Yeah, I'm not condoning anything like you said like that, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, I see it.
Yeah, yeah, of course, because I guess for me, it's a like I'm a little bit like extra salty because like, have you ever seen the interview that he did with I think it was like with IGN when he was talking about like Colonial Marines?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was, oh my god, man! I wanted to punch him on the spot.
Yeah, that was not good. That was.
Yeah, so it's like I will admit that I probably am going a bit too hard on him, but it's just kind of like that. That's kind of where it comes from.
Yeah, which I can understand. That makes sense. But I think we also have a release date for the game now, which is in September.
I want to say September.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
And we don't have to worry about this because we're console players. Yeah.
Now that's cool.
No, I will say it is kind of funny because one of the things that people keep bringing up when it comes to Epic versus Steam, I don't want multiple launchers and shit. It's just like console players have dealt with this for years.
That's basically like a huge part of the console war, where it's kind of like just pick your fucking console and then go for it.
The thing about it was, like, the one thing that I wasn't too cool about the Epic Games launcher having was like the spyware and all that other stuff. But once that turned out to be a hoax, I'm like, whatever.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because, like, you know, like, we're console dudes. Whatever. Like, oh yeah, oh wait, instead of like double clicking that, I'm supposed to double click this instead. Like, big deal.
How about you add a $400 price tag on top of that launcher? Then we'll talk.
Congratulations, your Xbox One.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just not funny.
Like the way I see it, it's just like, yeah, whatever. Big deal. It's no big deal to me. I mean, I'm secure. I have 2-factor authentication, so you know I'm good on that front.
Yep.
So any issue that I have at that point is just personal, and it's just like, yo, come on now, you guys are taking the piss out of this now. It's just a launcher, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
and the big thing that I don't understand about people hating on the Epic Games launcher is that it's brand new and it doesn't have a lot of features. Steam, when it started out, didn't have all these features that it has now. It took them years to get all the features that they have and still make improvements to its system. How come Epic Games Launcher doesn't get that same royalty?
Because I want it now, damn it. I need it now.
Not only that, but it's also kind of like a mentality, because I feel like this kind of ties into. I was talking to Jen the other day about something similar.
That was your first mistake.
Yeah, that's see where you went wrong here.
Because the thing about it is, I feel like that it's a similar mentality where it's just kind of like, you know, because they're doing it by comparisons. It's just kind of like, okay, X company has the setup like this, and Y company is doing something new. It is like building their own thing, and so it's just kind of like, because there's like they have the X company has the model. They just assume that Y company is already going to be where X company is at the start. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It's basically like the comparison where it's like, okay, well, this game came out, it should have like this, and they had this, and this. This other game came out, and so it should have the exact same things too, and then build upon that, right? And it's like, that's not necessarily how it works. You're putting standards on something entirely different, and that's something that's had like more time to build up.
Well, I somewhat agree with you, unless it's literally a standard that's been standard for a long time. For example,
yeah, that's fair.
Like, let's just say fighting games. Let's just go with that. Normally, a fighting game, a AAA fighting game, will probably have the basic standards of an arcade mode, a ranked match, and a lobby system. And some practice and stuff, and blah, 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 whatever. But if it does...
like, when he said fighting games, I was just kind of like, okay, he's going to bring this up.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh, you know what the sad thing is?
Same,
it's like fucking like,
you
was
know,
like fucking about as subtle as a freight train. It's like,
you know what the sad thing is?
Fighting games.
I wasn't even going there until you pointed that out.
Oh.
I wasn't even going there. Now that we brought it there, okay, let's bring in the game y'all wanted to bring in then, because I wasn't gonna go there actually, but since we brought it up, let's talk about it. Because y'all want to be some assholes. I'm just trying to make a point.
You misunderstand completely. I wanted you to do this.
No. No, I actually wasn't going over there. I was just putting it in general because
I wanted you. I wanted that shit.
Because actually, I was gonna bring up was Power Rangers.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna bring up Power Rangers and then bring up the lobbies and then Dead or Alive. I thought that's the order.
Dead or Alive wasn't even in my mind.
I thought you was gonna bring up Dead or Alive and the fact that it doesn't have lobbies.
Yeah, that was not even in my atmosphere of my mind.
It should have been.
I mean, in hindsight, for a comparison reason, yes, but it wasn't there.
I will say though that I'm kind of glad that you weren't gonna, because it's kind of like it's one of those like, oh well, it's the easy target, so.
Yeah, like I was just gonna bring that up because it's kind of that thing. It doesn't have these things, so.
Shit.
Man, okay, so
step on them while
keep
they're
going,
dead.
and I apologize.
But no, wait. Now that we've gotten to this, these motherfuckers.
You activated my trap card.
But like honestly, because that works in my comparison as well. With like,
yeah, it works in your favor. Why not go there?
Yeah, because I was actually gonna bring up how Power Rangers doesn't have these things, these binary things of a lobby system, and
I actually learned something too, because I did not know that Power Rangers did not have this.
Yeah,
that's kind of why I wanted him to keep going with Power Rangers, because like the Dead or Alive one, that's the super obvious one. The one that I don't know about is Power Rangers.
Yeah, it doesn't have like these kind of basic things of a lobby system and a real quote arcade mode-y thing. Like it's basically the basic stuff. Now that being said, it is a $20 game, so that's either here nor there. But like now that we brought up DOA, which is a AAA title game,
let's get it.
I mean, it should have had those standard things at the start. Let's be honest here.
It had 2 of 3. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that's what it did.
Yeah. And even now that we have it, it's still busted. Like, come on. No, I wasn't even thinking about the OA, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so wait, for Power Rangers, what's it have for like the arcadey thing? Because it almost sounds like it's got like an arcade and a half.
Kinda. Like they have what they said was going to be story stuff in there, but it's like not finished. And that's just because like it doesn't have all the characters they're gonna add in it yet.
So is it kind of like the individual character stories like Street Fighter V has?
In a way, but they're supposed to go further on the stories and whatnot. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, like I said, that's a $20 game. You can kind of give it some leeway, but at the same time, those are still standard stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
Absolutely.
What were we on after that? Damn it! I lost my train of thought.
Because we were talking about like the comparisons between like Epic's launcher and it's being and like people are hating on it because it's not up to the Steam standard.
Okay, so with that's like games and stuff. This is a business, really, in a nutshell. It's a totally different concept, like in that aspect, if you ask me. Where like with that, any small business is not going to have what a big business has now. It's just not. And that's yeah.
Well, because what I was gonna say is that it's like and that's a fair point. That's absolutely fair. I just think that like the way that people tend to think about this is that they think X is like this, so it should like Y should have it. I'm not saying like I'm not saying that like they have the resources or anything like that. I'm just saying that's the mentality.
Yeah, I got you. No.
I really wanted you to go off with the views, Jazz.
Maybe next time.
I feel like that moment would bring in some views.
No, I've gotten enough on the review. I kind of don't want to kill it just yet. Let it simmer. Let me go. One day it's
I
just
don't
gonna
know,
come out.
I feel like that moment of insanity would bring in views alone.
Oh, trust me, it'll probably come eventually when you least expect it.
You'll never see it coming.
It's just like when they were talking about Dragon Ball, you're just like, so fucking Dead or Alive. Oh, shit.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat 11, do you see about Dead or Alive?
Yes, these aren't even related.
They're related now.
Well, like people die in that.
But no, I was gonna ask, like, who did y'all play if y'all did play Borderlands in the original OG ones?
Never played them.
Never played 1. I played 0 and 2, but I eventually broke off into playing everyone but the Berserker.
So many numbers.
Mm-hmm. That's what it was. I think the favorite for me, like just off of personality, was the Commando and the turret build.
Yeah, that was pretty busted.
Like, and it wasn't like not even because it was busted. Like that's just how I like to play. Like, not only am I gonna fuck you up, but my nigga's gonna fuck you up too.
Yeah,
You're playing by yourself.
Exactly.
All right, and
Like, my opinion for this on Borderlands 3 is that if there is no system where it's like online or like always online multiplayer kind of thing, like any system whatsoever, like I can just fucking play the game offline, fucking, and do all that shit. I might get 3 if I can mod it.
That's very specific.
that's specific, but I also think, yeah, that's kind of fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if they changed that aspect, like they haven't done it in the last three games. Yeah, 3
Yeah,
games.
but because like the reason I bring it up is because there are some games out there where it's just kind of like it's a certain standard one way, kind of like take Call of Duty for example, where it's like it's always been like, oh, it's a shooting game, here's the multiplayer, here's the single player with the story and all this fucking shit, and then Black Ops 4 comes out, they took out the single player for the multiplayer of Battle Royale.
That's a fair point.
Like, sometimes some games will fucking have like a way that like the series is supposed to be, then they'll throw in the curveball. But sometimes the curveball is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds like super specific, but it's just like, yeah, if I can play offline, then I can mod it, then I'm good.
Yeah, fair enough. But I guess I should answer mine, which would be Siren and Necromancer.
The Necromancer?
I mean Necromancer. I keep saying Necromancer. I mean Mech-romancer.
I thought it was a Technomancer.
Same thing.
Same difference. Potato, potato.
Either way, she had a giant robot. It killed shit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, those are my characters. And the first one, I only played the Siren, and I played that one completely alone. That was a weird experience, but it was still fun. But now I think that's it for Borderlands 3. Now we can move on to Sekiro. And if, like, okay, so I'm sure you've seen the memes by now. Is Sekiro too hard? Should it need an easy mode? Blah, 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 such and so forth. Now, before I say anything, what are y'all thoughts on this?
I have no thoughts.
I haven't even played it.
I don't no, I'll say no on adding an easy mode to it because that was never in the original game plan. And if it's not in the original game plan, there's no sense in trying to fix shit around it so it'll be ready. Anthem.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I pretty much agree with what he said.
Yeah, I am also in agreement with him. But just in case y'all don't know, y'all haven't seen the memes to our listeners, basically Forge put out an article saying that Sekiro
needs to respect his players and add an easy mode.
Exactly. Like, which is silly article itself. Article title itself is absolutely silly. But
I mean, like, based off that article alone, you could almost be like, you guys have never played Dark Souls, have you?
Well, that's the thing. If you read the article, he has played Dark Souls. Apparently.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's
Well,
weird.
how far did he get though? Because I can also say, oh, I played Dark Souls 2. Have you beaten it? Nope.
Yeah,
I
he
played Dark
apparently.
Souls 3 before, and I died at the title screen like 11 times.
Fair enough.
You kept pressing the wrong button. That kept killing you.
It's the final boss is the title screen. But apparently he beat 2, and he played a lot of 3. So he has something there at least. But then he says something about it being accessible for all players to have a difficulty thing, which I don't think he understands what that word means. But it's just like when you read the article and how he keeps going on about how the players should have the choice of it maybe being easy or whatnot so they can actually enjoy the game. It just sounds really bad, especially when you come to games like these, because that's not what these games are really about.
Basically, yeah.
And like, go ahead.
Because I was gonna say, because like, ignoring the fact that this is from software, so it's just like they're famous for making their games notoriously hard.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too about it is there's like, they just have like never had to really do this for any of them. It was always either just like fucking get good or get off, scrub.
Mm-hmm.
But I think another thing too is that Sekiro is such a different game from Dark Souls, is that it kind of spat in the face of the Dark Souls elitists because it's not a Souls game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's what I've heard. I hear it plays closer to Ninja Gaiden than it does actual Dark Souls.
I would say Tenchu, but that's just me.
Well, I'm just saying what I've
That is
heard. Because
just
I said I
you're
never.
fucking weird.
Well, to be fair, it is made by also Activision, who did make Tenchu, so just saying.
Hold on. How dare you come to me with your... Hold on, let me sift through this list of excuses here. Hold on. Page 3. Oh yeah, your absolutely astonishing way of being correct. How dare you?
Wait, Eddie, didn't you say last pod that you don't have excuses?
Did I say that?
I think you did, actually.
I mean, that wasn't really an excuse. It was like, shit, you're right, nigga. What do you want out of me?
See, but you're failing to realize that was business, Eddie.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
because business people lie. Okay, fair enough.
There you go. Now we're getting there.
In the gaming industry, bro?
I feel like I can say this, but I feel like Eddie would also get pissed off.
No, so you go for it.
Because I was gonna be like, I mean, look at the division. That's their life for you.
Hey, they're working on it. You want to No, I'll absolutely agree. The game is not perfect, but shit, man, the game has content. No, you can't take that away from it.
I was just fucking like, I was just throwing shit, man.
You know, let me throw some shit too. You and your DOA over there. You can stay right.
See, this wouldn't have happened.
Like fucking cannibalism.
Nobody's safe.
To be fair, if you came onto this podcast expecting safety, that's when you fucked.
No, I threw out the first shot. I'll admit it.
I just kind of just sprayed. There you go.
Just fucking like spray and pray.
You can, Jazz. I hope you can just add this in, like post, like after we're done, just have that Tom meme, just like, oh, we talking shit.
I'm just gonna have like top the newspaper, like, you motherfucker.
Okay, minding my business and you want to talk shit. Okay.
No, that's funny though. Oh man, what were we talking about? Sekiro. No, yeah, I agree with Eddie. It's like that's not the way the developers developed it. It's not. Video games, just like a lot of things, are an art form, in my opinion, and you can't change that art the way it's intended. it's no longer their art. It's something else.
It was also like you said too, that I wanted to add on. They said like they need to make it more accessible. It's like I don't think you understand what accessibility is.
Exactly. Like
accessibility is like having the game be playable to say some disabled folks.
Exactly. Like that Xbox controller that just came out. That's accessibility.
Yeah.
Like and those options for like the colorblind people, and I think it was like Destiny or something.
Exactly. Like that.
Yeah, like, hey, like, you boot up Sekiro 2 Electric Boogaloo for the first time, and then they ask you, hey, what's the color of this dress?
Oh, shit. Oh, damn.
Not see that coming.
Oh, shit. That would be so funny.
That'd honestly be past fuck, wouldn't it?
At the same time, I mean, can you... If you can't really see it, I mean...
Well, what if you guessed wrong? You're just like, oh, you just wasted $60. Congratulations.
Congratulations, you failed the first boss.
What I also think is kind of funny though is how like a lot of the hardcore Dark Souls fans, they rage about how like Sekiro, it doesn't necessarily play like Dark Souls. And yet I almost wanted to like throw money to the and say that like these are the kinds of people that think like, oh, I'm elite because I've beaten like all the Dark Souls games. But it's just kind of like, okay, so then how come you haven't beat Sekiro then? How come you guys are struggling with it because it plays slightly differently?
Yeah,
because I can't dodge roll.
No,
like, so then get good.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. A lot of the Dark Souls elitists aren't even good at video games. Because what a lot of people do, and I think in some cases it's the really, really bad elitists that they just don't know how to play video games. The only reason that they beat Dark Souls is just because they learned the boss's patterns and they're 150 levels higher than the boss.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, yeah, I beat Dark Souls, man. It was easy. Like, of course it was easy.
Overload the shit.
Yeah, exactly. You did all that level grinding just to come in and like maybe one shot a boss or something.
They just want the recognition, honestly, and the fact that like Sekiro actually gave them a challenge, or like a different challenge, I should say. Like their fucking insecurities are starting to show up.
Yeah, that's why. Like that's the only reason why. It's just like, there was a JoJo meme. It's just like, it appears that Sekiro was harder than I thought. Did it just shows him stand using into a GameStop?
Oh yeah, fucking the new Dio one apparently.
Yes.
No.
And it's like it kind of spits in the face of those elitists because the game does not have levels. It's either you just get your health up and then you get particular items and then other potential spoiler related things. And it's like, and they just like, all right, you got your stuff, have fun.
Exactly. Good luck. Speaking of which, and there is something that also came out of this. I want your opinions on it, because I am of one way, but I wonder if y'all are of another way. Because there was another article that did come out about a guy who like cheated the last boss. Basically making everything kind of slower in a bit so he can actually react and stuff to the boss. I'm not going to say what the boss is or anything, like I'm just going to leave it at that. But a lot of people were really against that thing, because it's like they're saying you're not really playing the game the way it was intended or whatever.
Okay.
And you basically just cheated a system just so you should say you beat the game or so without really beating it. I am of the way of, at that point, he kind of already got there. He can enjoy the game he wants to enjoy and let that be that. It's not like he's like, I beat the boss, oh yeah, whatever, I'm better than all of you. He's like, no, I did it this way. I enjoyed the game, I had fun. It's like, good for you.
Well, because let me ask you this: is there any multiplayer stuff to Sekiro?
No, not a thing.
Not.
Then fuck the complainers, man.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the '90s when cheat codes were a thing, and even then, it's just like if you beat the game, you just fucking beat the game.
I gotta disagree with you on that one, but hear me out, right? Hear me
Oh
out.
shit! Here we go again.
Know.
More drama.
I get it. I get it. I get it. It's an offline game. He cheated to beat the game. It's an offline game. You can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But let me say this. Damn, how am I supposed to explain this, Edward? Holy shit. The thing that I'm trying to say is him beating the game with cheats. Him beating the game with cheats is one thing. Gloating about it's another thing.
But see, that's the thing. Like, he wasn't really gloating about it. He just said that he did it.
He said he did it, and yeah, no shame. No shame in my game, baby.
Yeah. I'm okay with it, basically, is what he said.
I mean, because from the sounds of it, it just sounds like he says, like, I did it like this, and that's it, you know, end of sentence. But I guess people are sort of, like, hearing it as, like, because I beat Sekiro, I somehow think I'm better than you. It's just kind of like, I'm not saying that at all.
Which is practically, like, exactly like you said, is how people are taking it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fair. That's fair. I'm not against that, not one bit.
Yeah, because I would be with you if he was like, if he beat the game and then he said, I'm better than all you bitches. Because then I'd be like, okay, so then have him fucking play in front of a crowd and then we'll see him perform without fucking cheats or anything like that. Then, like, I fucking say, you know, put him up to the task of doing that. But since he's just being like, yeah, I just did it this way, that, like, fucking, that's it. Then it's just kind of like, he's not really being an ass about it. So I've got, like, no problem with him fucking beating the boss like that.
But that's exactly why I'm on the fence, because it's offline, so him cheating really isn't the problem. But it's like, at that point, he kind of broke into the game's files and manipulated it to his own favor.
But to be fair,
you see my point.
Yeah, I understand your point, but to be fair, that's technically like just mods.
Yeah, like it is just like mods. It's tough.
Like, there's something about it that you can see that is not to your liking, but it's kind of hard to say because it's like, it's a lot of, it's one of those things like, how do you make the argument of not liking this for a single player game?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I would almost say that it's like, for me, it just hinges on, like, the guy's attitude. If he's just saying, I just beat it, period, then that's one thing. But if he was fucking, like, saying, I'm the best, you, like, none of you motherfuckers can touch me, like, he was going like that, then I'd fucking say, fucking burn the dude.
Like, I'm on that same thing. Like, it's a single-player game. You enjoy it the way you enjoy it. You bought the game. Do what you want. Like, it's not like you're just in people's faces like, haha, I did it, you didn't. No, he's enjoying the game. I can't fault him for that.
Yeah, because it would be like for like Jazz watching me play Devil May Cry 5, and if I don't beat the game by getting the secret ending like every time, and then he's telling me I'm wrong because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Which I would not on this way.
You motherfucker.
But I just wanted y'all's opinion on that because it's interesting reading some of the stuff online, especially to the point it became a meme itself, and the meme kind of got out of hand too. But like it's like somebody saying you cheated the game and yourself and all this other shit and whatnot. I can't remember the exact words because it was a long thing, but now people.
And it's like somebody. Amazing, an amazing Yoshimitsu player flashed someone. It's just like, yeah,
I saw that.
But then somebody did the same thing to Geese when he got a parry. He got a parry into a super huge wall combo. It's just like, look at that. You didn't earn that. You cheated.
I'll send it to you after this, Mrmoopsy. It's kind of funny.
But it's almost as great as the oh shit, here we go again.
Exactly.
Yeah, like right now there's like 3 or 4 memes all converging at the same time.
Dude, it's crazy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that meme did get out of hand a little bit though on Twitter. because somebody took it out of context about like female players and whatnot. I know. Talk about female players again today. Interesting.
Oh wow! Like, well, I thought we were past just outright hating on female players.
Yeah, I guess not.
It's like apparently it just got muffled.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to first of five my waifu, son, if she doesn't even get the opportunity to be great first?
Exactly. These bitches.
Fucked up world we live in, bro. Fucked up world.
Shit's just too tense nowadays.
Can you blame them? Absolutely not.
Nope. But I think we've hit everything on Sekiro. So, early Evo registration leaderboards. I'm going to post this in our Discord.
Dope.
There are the results.
Tekken 7 top 3 all.
Yeah, the one I saw was like it fucking had like Tekken, I think like number 2 spot and Street Fighter on 4.
That was before early registration ended. This is after early registration ended. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Like, dude, imagine, like, Tekken has that clout. It's just like, yeah, Air said, it's just like, yeah, Soul Calibur, they're with us.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, Street Fighter got a boost after the one you saw. There was like, oh, wait, shit. Tekken's winning. We can't have this.
Like, those Tekken guys will never shut up about it now.
I mean, I wouldn't even care if it was like in 5th place, as long as I could play.
But look at Eunice, man, top 5.
Yeah, that's actually very shocking.
That's like, man, niggas need to ride for Soul Calibur and Tekken like they do for Eunice, man. Holy shit. I know Tekken's ahead, but at the same time, like, you get my...
Which Soul Calibur is in a rough spot on Twitter and stuff and whatnot. I might get into that later, but the one that really shocks me is Mortal Kombat 11.
It's funny because for me, the one that shocks me is Dragon Ball.
No, you're both wrong. The one that shocks me is Samurai fucking Showdown.
But see, and that's the one I was going to point out after the fact. It's beating Mortal Kombat 11. That's shocking to me. Now, Dragon Ball
falling off, it sucks, but what can you do about that?
I wonder if it's part due to the people not realizing that all the controversy is over yet.
Which one?
The big one. The one where, like, it just couldn't be played in tournaments and shit.
Ah, okay.
Because I have been hearing around that here and there on Twitter still. So it kind of makes you wonder if that's playing a factor in this. That people are just like, well, I mean, it's going to be a dead game soon anyway, so...
Yeah, because, like, the thing about, like, fucking Dragon Ball is that, like, there's, like, for the Dragon Ball IP in general, there's, like, fucking 3 or 4 controversies going on right now.
And that's not even including GT Goku.
Oh my god, man.
Don't even get me started.
Do not get us started. But, yeah, because, like, I'm just surprised that, like, Dragon Ball is just, like, is that low. But, because, like, there's definitely, like, some, that, how can I put this? Some of them are just like in surprising spots because I definitely get the one that you're talking about too, Jess, about how like Mortal Kombat 11 is basically almost out and Samurai Showdown is still higher than it is.
Yeah, like I've checked their Twitter accounts as well. It's not like it's bumping like Mortal Kombat is, like not by a country mile, but the fact that it's beating it is crazy to me.
If I had to make a guess as to why it is as good as it is, it would have to be nostalgia.
Which I can see that, but at the same time, look at the hype surrounding Mortal Kombat. Like, nostalgia versus hype. I feel like the hype should be winning here.
I guess the one, like, thing that I would have to take into account is, like, how is the... Like, how are the Japanese numbers for, like, Samurai Showdown and Mortal Kombat 11? Like, I need to see something for that.
I'm sure they're probably vice versa. Like, one's big for one and one big for the other.
Yeah, because that's part of the probably like the reason why like maybe more people are signing up for Evo West, because like it's like they're bringing back Samurai Showdown. I fucking remember playing this game as a kid, or my dad showed it to me, my brother showed it to me, blah blah blah. And then for Mortal Kombat 11 it's like it's probably slightly less because like, yeah, you know, it's either you're hyped for Mortal Kombat, or maybe you have got some people who are like, I tried the beta, I didn't like it, or whatever their reasons.
Which could be a factor, but I feel like it wouldn't be that big of a factor though. And I don't know. This is still early stuff, so it could very well change.
and you don't know like the finalized numbers. It could be possibly like it's barely beating it.
Yeah. Like, honestly, we don't know any numbers really at this point. We just know what places and what. For all we know, they could all be by one.
it could be like, okay, like the difference between Samurai Showdown and Mortal Kombat 11 is like by 3 players.
Yeah.
Like this. The only reason that Street Fighter V is ahead of Tekken is because of the alphabet.
That would be hilarious.
I'd be like, oh my god.
God damn it.
Not the worst idea, I know.
But that would be funny though. But yeah, these are just early numbers, so you gotta take all these with a grain of salt, whatever.
Wait.
It just I can't see how that's beating it. Even Under Night and Birth is like, how?
Yeah, the fact that it made it into top 5 or past 5, I should say.
Yeah.
That part's surprising. I thought like at its best it would have done top 5.
Mm-hmm. Like that's just insane to me.
No, I think that's just a product of the community riding for their game.
Which true. I'm not gonna say that it couldn't have been like a number 6 on here. I'm not gonna say that. It could have been number 6. Number 4 is high.
Yeah.
But hey, it's like, you know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I can attribute Eunice being in the top 5 like Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania this past weekend, which was absolutely magnificent, by the way. It's like the fan support for that game was so severe that it's getting the spotlight that it probably deserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they are literally a ride or die community in that. That
game is crossplay. I've seen PC people play against PS3 people that played against PS4 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the very few games that do it. It's actually kind of shocking.
But you know what? It doesn't have mod support. I'd say Tekken 7 should do something like that, but I don't think they could. Have you seen those PC mods?
Yeah, and especially the fact that like we have the desyncing issue too.
And it's more common because of those mods too.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely more common.
Mm-hmm.
Like the majority of these desyncs is because of modded stages. So
the modded stages, not even like the characters or nothing.
That too, but it's the majority of the stages. Like there have been some modded characters that they've been showing to also desync. But it's definitely the stages for the most part.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. So this is our early one. Also, I'll be placing this on the actual screen too when I get to it. But yeah, is there anything else we want to say on this one?
Not on this, man.
Not really, no.
Alrighty. Now we can move on to any extra stories we have. Which I actually have one. This is more personal myself because Mrmoopsy actually hit it on Twitter because reasons. They did the combat cast today for for Katana and Cetrion and Devora, and basically they deconfirmed Melina. Which rip Melina fans.
They full on just like, no, Melina will not be in this game. She's dead.
They kind of did because okay, so in MKX, Jade wasn't in there, and literally instead of having Jade in there, they gave Katana a thing called Mournful variation, which allowed her to do Jade moves.
Yeah,
they've done the same thing for Katana, but with Melina moves now.
Why would she be mournful though?
What's that?
Why would she be mournful though?
Well,
Katana
different timeline.
No, over Melina.
Over Melina though.
No, she's not mournful over Melina.
Well, here's the thing.
Katana,
I think it's a different timeline Katana.
Ah.
that's it.
So instead of maybe Jade being her best friend, it was Melina. Because in the old games, they were all together, but she kind of grew closer to Jade. Maybe in this timeline, she grew closer to Melina.
Too much hentai,
yeah, you
bro.
never know.
Way too much hentai. Way too
No
much.
such thing.
But
No, it's just that's why they grew apart, man. Too much hentai, man. Just like
damn, not again.
like shit. Here we go. I gotta
God
spend,
damn it.
I gotta spend my fucking income tax money on another hard drive. Yeah.
No, man. Oh, but what are the
A collector never stops collecting.
Exactly. Don't you forget that. No. But I would put on Twitter basically why was I more excited for Katana than Scarlet. And after thinking about it, I know the exact reason why. So, Scarlet in this game is practically a zoner. Like, complete zoner. And this is completely different from our MK9 iteration, where she was more in your face, kind of being able to get to you whenever, blah, 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 such and such.
Yeah, because your favorite type of characters are pretty much rushdown, right?
For the most part. Like, I like to be in your face, but I also like to, if I need to, have a little space. I'm not trying to zone you.
Right.
And that's literally what they made Scarlet in this game. So I think what I've seen from Katana is basically what Scarlet used to do, Katana does now. So it's just like, crap. I feel like I'm in another Keelix situation. I'll never drop the character, but damn, you making this interesting.
Interesting in quotes.
But wait, there's more.
There is more.
Scarlet's gonna have an ability where she can take some of your blood and heal herself.
Yes, it was in the beta.
God damn it, Edward. God.
And the funny thing is,
I just want the meme, bro. That's all I want.
But the funny thing is that it was actually one of her combo extenders, which was, they're all slow, but like if you want to actually do a combo, you're gonna have to use that move, which is kind of the problem with Scarlet and a couple of the characters is that they all have moves that are clearly better than the other moves that are in their list that you're gonna like equip on them.
That sucks.
Yeah, like some of them, like Cabal, literally can have a bunch of moves that also work in different situations, and they work. But also, Cabal is annoying because he keeps saying the same two phrases, so that's there. But yeah, like characters like Baraka, Scarlet, Jade is boring as shit, and she also falls under that. So,
damn, man, I really wanted to play her too. Man, she might be. You know what? She might be up my alley, though.
Speaking of which,
just go for the eye candy.
Yeah, but I was just to say, do you like zoning, Eddie?
It's not about whether I like zoning or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that zoning is a part of 2D games, and I would like to be ready for anything.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, you do know Noob is a zoner, right?
Yeah, Noob is a zoner. But at the same time, he's pretty good up close too.
Yeah.
But that's my philosophy. Play a character that I find fun first, and then try to get into the nitty-gritty of every situation second.
Yep.
But we'll say the last 4 characters, maybe, not including the ones we just saw, but the last 4 characters are probably the most diverse. That being Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and the other 2 names are escaping me. But
because I was gonna say, I was gonna ask Jess. So for like, because you said that there's like some moves that are better than the others, like for a bunch of characters. What do you think are the chances we're gonna get like another MK9 Kung Lao mirror sort of situation?
Ooh, that's hard. I say the chances are about 60%.
Ew, that's already too high.
And I'll tell you why. There are clearly some characters that you can just look at and be like, they're good. They're going to be great in this system that's in here. And then there are other characters that's just like, they have something. I don't know how that's going to work in the long run. For example, Sonya is a perfect example. She has good stuff, but in this kind of game, I think she's going to be very low tier. And the one thing that makes me say that, with this game being a lot of zoning in it, she doesn't really have a way of getting around that like everybody else does. Like, for example, Jade, she can just phase through it. Scarlet, she does have a teleport she can equip to go around it, but she's technically a zoner herself, so you have options. Baraka gets fucked in that category. And I'm trying to think of another character that has something. Johnny, his fucking shadow kick literally goes across the screen. Katana, she flies. Literally, Sonya literally has nothing. So it's one of those, like, if she can not get by the zoning aspects, which I feel like is going to be strong in this game, especially with a character like fucking Centurion, who I think is going to be the Kung Lao of this game. I'm not gonna lie. Because I've seen, like, I looked at the combat cast today for her thing, and she is straight zoning. There's, like, literally almost Deadshot-ish zoning.
Oh, wait, isn't she that, like, Green Mother Nature-y chick?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember now.
Yeah, she is legit straight zoning. And I can see that being extremely powerful, because she had some stuff that gave me Superman vibes.
Yeah, wasn't it like there's like she put some rocks in like in between you and like your opponent, and she was able to like use like whips and shit from that? It's just kind of like, what the fuck kind of totem bullshit is this?
Exactly. She can do that, and then while she's doing that, she can hit you from below with the projectile there. She's complete zoning. She's the zoning person, and I can see that being a mirror match there. But
she reminds me of Aswell 1.0.
That's perfect example. Right there. That is literally, I couldn't even think of a better example than that. But if there's a character I feel like that's going to be like that, it's probably going to be her. And if it's not her, it's going to be Jade. And the reason for that, Jade, as boring as she is a character that has every tool to win. And just win.
Oh man, that's gonna fucking suck if it turns out like she's like god tier. And it's just like, imagine seeing like the fucking grand finals, it's a Jade mirror match, and you're just kind of like, I'm so bored.
Well, time to share the channel. Oh wait. But like that's the real like meta thing here. Like, there's zoning's gonna be strong in this game, but there are ways around it for a lot of the cast. Not all of the cast, but a lot of the cast. And it's gonna be a matter of, can that other section of the cast can really get around it? Because if not, then, I mean, who's going to play them in the long run?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think that's going to be good for game balance. I know zoning's in the game, and almost everyone can do anything about it. But it's kind of like how Baraka is a nightmare up close, but that way you have to zone him.
Exactly. Like, and I learned that through the beta. Because at first I was like, Baraka's so fucking strong. And then I started zoning him, and it was just like, wow, Baraka has nothing. It's just like, there's so much of that that's just like, if you figure out their, quote, weakness, which is probably most likely going to be their zoning techniques versus your character, I was just trying to think of another character that it's similar in that aspect, but I can't think of it now. Oh, I will say, the character I think that's going to break the mold here is Jackie. And I think that her like ground pound stuff and all the other stuff is actually going to make the character, other people think about their zoning techniques.
Yeah, I've seen like, I think it was in the comments of the Kotal Khan versus Jackie video, where like a lot of people were actually basically like the running comment was like, where was this Jackie when we got her?
Honestly, I'm kind of with them because she looks much better than she did. Not even looks wise, literally, because she does look better there. But like, as all around character, she looks better.
Everybody,
she got some upgrades.
Everyone looks better.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, like, like they in 11, everyone looks like people as opposed to like Mortal Kombat characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cassie Cage is somebody that I could see at work or something like that.
Which is funny because that was one of the things that people complained about when they first saw her. It's like, what's wrong with her face? And then like a month later, oh wow, she looks amazing.
Like, what's up with her face? Working on it.
Exactly. I see. I don't get that anymore. Like, we've been through this, guys. Come on. Literally, they show the early stuff. It gets fixed. Boom.
Yeah, man. Cassie's hot. Jackie's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it, man. Jax is hot.
Are we talking non-beard or beard?
What? Excuse me? 100% beard. I
all right,
want that
all
beard.
right. I was about to have to call you real sus.
Nah, fuck that, man. I want that. I want that beard. For me.
There we go. But Jax is a weird character in this game. I'm not gonna lie. Like the fact that his fireball comes after his like arms are on fire is weird.
That's a cool mechanic.
It is a very cool mechanic. I won't lie that it's just weird because he's always kind of had it.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like you can see the progress that you're making. You're just punching the shit out of people and your arms are literally on fire. I can feel the burn.
I guess it's probably like they probably messed around with it a little bit because of story reasons.
Which is fine. I mean, honestly, and I also like the fact that if you hit his fatal blow, it automatically puts it on fire.
Nice.
Dude, even if you're doing like a cinematic move, and the more Jax punches people, he still levels up his arms.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's attention to detail you can't help but appreciate.
Exactly. Speaking of attention to detail, there are some things I have to clear up after my first beta impressions. There are defensive options in this game. They just didn't teach you how to do them.
Ooh.
So, like,
defensive options.
Like, one thing I did say was, like, there's no roll in this game. Like in Injustice, where you can kind of roll past stuff and whatnot. There is a roll, but it's on knockdown. And that's, I didn't understand, and I still technically don't really understand how to fully do it, mainly because the button presses on a lot of these wake-up options are fucking almost just frame-like, and I kind of hope that changes.
It's like that, plus the game's not even out yet, so...
Yeah, like, honestly, from what they've shown from the beta to what they've done now, I will say I'm impressed. Especially, like, the dash speed, because the dash speed in the beta was god-awful. I mean, it was literally non-existent. It was literally, you would literally be like that old man meme. I guess I'll die. But they definitely changed it the second they showed it with the Sub-Zero, and it's 100 times better.
Just like speaking of dashes, wasn't like Sagat's dash in Street Fighter 4 like just absolute garbage?
Absolute garbage. Like you talk about F tier. But I call it Sean tier. It was below that.
So, and that's basically like what the dash speed was for like the whole roster.
Yes, that's a perfect example. Everybody was dashing like Sagat, which made zoning even stronger. It's just like, because with the meter automatically rebuilding on its own, all you had to do was literally walk back and just keep zoning. Now you can actually dash.
Now you can actually move. It's like, oh my god, I have legs.
What do these things do? Whoa! But they're definitely listening to the community and whatnot. Especially something else they brought up was the tournament things. One thing that people were kind of worried about were the variations and how they would work in tournaments, which was each character, as of right now, is going to have 2 variations they can pick for like ranked in tournament mode and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, people weren't really liking that because of the whole like creativity is getting hindered, blah blah blah, such and so forth. At the same time, I see why they did it, because tournaments already take long as it is, and picking your things like then and there, it's just like, okay, an hour later, we're finally to the first match. All right.
Like, there's some games where it's just kind of like you can play the game as fast as you can, and it'll still take fucking forever. Looking at you, Dragon Ball.
Exactly. You can't like what they're doing to circumvent that though is to add more variations as the game goes along. So I actually like this idea, especially the fact that they just revealed today that each one will have 3 different moves that you can technically attach to your character, other than the other moves they have. So that's gonna really make up some interesting things down the line in tournaments, I think. So there was something else, but I can't think of it now. Overall, I'm definitely more excited than I was a couple weeks ago about this game. Will I actually take it seriously? That's still up for debate. But I am excited for story mode, so there's that.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about how that story's gonna go too.
Well, apparently there are multiple endings, so that's gonna be fun. Also, the crypt is supposed to be 3rd person, so maybe some Shaolin monks-esque thing happening. Maybe. Oh, jeez, I just realized. I hope it's not like Armageddon. You're playing Taven. That was a little rough.
That was gay, man.
Dude, like all the 3D Mortal Kombats were a mistake.
Yeah.
I'd say Shaolin Monks was cool, but the other ones after that, man.
Well,
all the other ones that weren't that.
Let's take Shaolin Monks out of the equation, just like the regular fighting ones.
I just meant the fighting games. I didn't mean like Shaolin Monks because I never played it.
Shaolin Monks is amazing. I really wish you could play that one.
It's like from what I hear, Shaolin Monks is great. I was just throwing shade at like the fighting versions.
Yeah, the fighting versions are trash. Like literally, like I know what they were trying to do, was basically the hit thing at the time was 3D fighters and stuff like that. That wasn't their style. It never really has been their style. Nope. I will say though that the Armageddon's customization system was actually pretty cool though, but that was about it.
Dude, I played Armageddon online, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Why would you do that to yourself?
Dude, I tell you now, man, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
Fair enough.
Nah, man, true shit. That shit was wild. There's there was people fighting for like the top leaderboards and shit too, and it's like that's where I learned how to play Noob Smoke. But there was this one dude who would beat the shit out of everybody with Blaze if you pick the creative character.
Oh, dude.
He just was not having it.
That's fucked up. That's actually fucked up. Why would you pick the boss character thing?
Dude, he was not having it with those. He was not having it with those those creative characters.
Well, yeah, to be fair, like, literally you could have creative characters that did, like, 50% damage off of 3 hits. So, I get it. Now that you put it that way, I kind of get it.
He is a cool dude, as I was talking to him, though.
You won me over. I'll say that. But, I think that's all I already had for Mortal Kombat. I really wish they would remake Shaolin Monks or something, because that game was so fun. Literally, like, there was. I wonder whatever happened to that sequel that was in the makes, other than, like, I'm sure it's, like, canned now, but, like, I wonder whatever.
They are planning on making it, like, its own full-on game. Well, of course, it's not going to happen until, like, after Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah. I just wonder whatever happened to it, because it was supposed to follow Scorpion Sub-Zero, and that was sounded very cool to me. Especially since you could play them in Shaolin Monks. And they were fun to play in that, so I think that's all I had from Mortal Kombat. I had something else. Oh, well, I guess I could talk about the whole Soul Calibur thing now. I was talking a little bit to you about this, Eddie.
Yeah, boy.
About how the current ranking for Soul Calibur kind of caused a lot of fuss going around in the Twitter community, and people were kind of pointing fingers at everything of why it's so low. But the majority of people this is a small community once you get down to it, but the majority of them were talking about how all the top players were like exclusive to their groups and whatnot, the community wasn't welcoming, and it was a bunch of stuff like that. Now there were some legitimate things I will say that I kind of agree with, like the whole point system being kind of fucked with the whole you're level 0 and you're fighting a B rank. Like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Which are things that will get ironed over time. Hopefully, cross fingers. But like the majority of the people that were talking were literally just like going at people like Party Wolf, like Boom, which he did something I don't agree with, but it is what it is. And it was just a lot of infighting that kind of blew up out of nowhere to the point where like even some tournament executives was just like, y'all can't do this here.
Oh, yikes.
Like, I don't know about putting this in my area.
Yeah, see, because that sounds like a really bad move, a really bad mistake on the community as a whole, I'm going to say. Because it's like, instead of it being like, well, let's find out who's to blame for this, it should be like, well, you know what, we'll just fucking work harder to fix the mistakes of what's happening. Which
is what the majority of the community is doing. It was just a small one, but a small vocal one at that. But, like, yeah, it got pretty bad. And Boom, did you hear what Boom did? I'm not sure if he was trolling on this, but if he did do this, I really wish he didn't.
No, I haven't heard.
What did he do?
Apparently, he caused fake beef that happened with a guy named Zeph.
Okay.
Where he kept telling them, hey, you need to say this, and I'll say this, and whatnot, and that got people even more riled up.
That sounds like something Boom would do.
It does sound like something Boom would do. So I was just like, why would you do this?
But not like how Mike Ross and the rest of those guys did it back then. It was like, it's just like, yo, for the views.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just like, I can kind of see if you're trying to do it like when everything's kind of calm and whatnot. Even then, I wouldn't do it myself, but whatever. But when everything's kind of tense like this, and then you add that on top of it, it's like you're really not helping this cause.
That is true.
I mean, you're directing all the anger to yourself when people find out it's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just, especially since he's one of the more known ones in the community. Him.
That is.
And Link and Party. You gotta hold yourself to a higher standard, guys. Come on.
Yeah, you kind of do.
That is true.
But like I said, I'm not 100% sure until I hear it from his mouth completely. But I've heard this from a lot of people that this was fake.
I mean, causing controversy is a thing. But hold on, can we take a break from that for a second?
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna be real with you boys. I've known you guys for a very long time. All right, I have a confession to make.
I don't like where this is going.
Good, you shouldn't.
Well.
I want Mortal Kombat 11 Katana to like crush me with her thighs, my nigga. Like, really.
Damn, not like this.
Oh shit!
You're like, get out of this podcast.
Like, come on, man. Have you seen her?
I will say that throne entrance. Damn.
I was actually gonna check out like all the fights and shit later.
Oh, dude, the entrance alone is gonna get you like, oh shit.
Where's that Rule 34?
I'm not, you know what, man. I'm not cool with being stepped on or nothing like that. But she can wrap her thighs around my neck, bro. Like, I'll wear that shit like a chain. Oh my god.
You know what the best part of that is, though? Is the fact that you can say that and Devora was in the same trailer. But you're still like on the katana thing.
I don't care about Devora. I hate that bitch. What?
Well, it's because of the thing she did, which was absolutely disgusting, and most people were kind of talking about a lot. But like, you're still like on the katana thing.
Oh yeah, that's
that says a lot about katana.
Dude, what was that form?
So okay, here's the thing about Devora. She has something similar to what Jason had back in MKX. basically, when she dies, she takes off the larva, and she becomes like a bug. Basically, she has like I think 25% life or something like that, and you have to kill her in that form to fully kill her. But the thing is that when she's in that form, her entire moveset changes to the point where like, and I don't think they really tell you what she does in that form either. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like you're still alive, but you're kind of everywhere. Yeah.
Is it worth it? I don't think it's worth it.
I mean, it's going to be interesting down the line when people try to use it, because honestly, Jason had it, but people didn't use it a lot because it took away a lot of other stuff he had that was stronger. But if they balance it enough, it's going to be interesting to see if people do that in tournament. It's like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
it's like they have to be careful about balancing though, because they don't want like a Dark Phoenix kind of situation.
exactly. Like that's the worst thing you can do. It's like, because when I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Some nasty ass shit.
At that point in the trailer, I was like, Katana's fucking hot. I know I like Asians, right? But I don't like just Asians.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, holy shit, this Katana's hot as shit. Oh, Devura's a bug. Yo, Katana is fucking
Exactly. No, it's what's funny about Devora, because like in the last game, she wasn't like, for some people out there. I'm not one of them for sure. You definitely ain't gonna catch me with no fucking bug lady. But
okay, so they made porn of her.
Exactly, but she wasn't the worst looking thing in the world.
She wasn't intense. She wasn't grotesque. She was just a bug lady.
Exactly. Like
in 11, she's less lady, more bug.
Exactly. It's disgusting. It's
Yeah. Yeah, man. I can definitely agree with you. Now,
it's like the people that get off on that is like, you guys are the real sickos.
No, I agree. I agree. Like 11 Devura is, and that's a bug. It's a good thing I keep a can of Raid on me at all times.
Keep the strap.
But I'll keep that motherfucking thing on me. Nah, Raid, bro. We just discussed this, bro.
I said like.
You did say like.
Nah.
But yeah, that'd be funny as fuck. Like,
Black witch!
Back demon!
Be gone from this godforsaken world, you wretched.
Glass bottles like holy water, but it's Raid.
Hissing and growling.
No, she's disgusting in this one. I don't know if you've seen the meme of like when like quote God like created a boy or whatever, and he like slightly pours this thing, and then he like drops the glass. It's like, oh, it's just like they did that. It's like they did that with Devoris. It's like, okay, let's make it a little bit more. Oh shit! Well, oh man. I don't even think I'm going to touch her this game. Actually, it's like, you Devora mains can have her.
Yeah, man, they can have that shit. Honestly, like they're teetering to the same line as fucking bronies right now, bro. Like,
really, at this point,
This is a Christian combat.
like furries is cool, but like, yo, like these Devora guys and these bronies, bro, we don't trust them. At least I can have a conversation with Sonic Fox. These niggas, bro. No.
Like, damn. Not like this.
With a regular person, it's like, yeah, I can see how that's attractive. With the Dwarf mains, it's like, oh god, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I think that's all I had for short stories. Did y'all have anything?
I'm getting close. Like, I know with the last guide video that I made that I was like close to 500 subs, and due to man, how the hell can I put this properly? I don't want to say depression because that word gets thrown out way too much. But say my priorities have switched. And that's why I haven't uploaded another guide at all in the past month. I'm getting back to it. Julia will be done like maybe a day or two, depending on my mood. But I'm getting close to 500, and I'm curious to see what I'm going to do next.
Nice.
I think like I was still gaining subs, like albeit very slowly. So that just means people are watching my old videos and are subscribing off of that, which is also magnificent. But I'm trying to get back into it. And hold on a second.
Sorry.
What are you doing? What?
Oh,
all right.
There was something I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was. But
I see what you were doing, and you got all nerves.
no. Oh, I was gonna say I have my schedule for streaming now, which is going to be Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Good shit.
Yeah. And it's gonna be mostly training stuff. So Tekken is Monday, Soul Calibur is Friday, and whatever I want to do is Thursday.
Nice.
Hey man, if you want some training, I'm down to play.
Of course. Absolutely.
Then you had a mini rant on Negan players, and that was something.
Well, it's weird because like the only Negan I've really played, other than like another person who was absolute trash, I'm not gonna say who that was, but the only Negan player I've really played is you. So like to see all these other people just like do shit that's just like, what are you doing, is weird to me. But I'll get it over time.
Definitely.
There was something else I was gonna say, but I can't remember what to say. So what were you gonna say?
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you were in mid something. I thought you were in mid something.
No. My first Soul Calibur video is going to be all of Yoshimitsu's guard break attacks.
Nice. That'd be perfect for this patch.
Well, no, not the break attacks, but even then, like that's something that could have been done like in the beginning, but I don't think anybody's made a video for it.
No, I think Boom said he was going to try to, but he still hasn't yet.
No, Boom most definitely has not. He's done more punishment stuff though. I don't think he's done guides like I do. Him nor Signia at all. But I will hop on the opportunity to do that just to help people out, because there are people that are better than me in this game, and I know more than they do just because I spend so much time in practice mode.
It's just applying the stuff now.
Like, you know Root Kick in Soul Calibur, right? In Soul Calibur 6, Root Kick as a standalone move does not break guard. But the Root Kick in the Solar Shark attack breaks guard.
That's weird.
That is weird. That's very weird. The second move in the Shark attack breaks guard as well, but I was talking about Root Kick in particular, and like not a lot of people knew that. So you know, there's things like that that I can work on.
That makes sense. Yep. I think we can call it then.
One more thing. Remember the black hole thing that came out?
The black hole.
The black hole.
Black hole. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. What did you think I said?
I thought you said black hole. I was like, huh?
Like,
J. Cole? J. Cole came out with the black hole? What?
The first photo, they took a photograph of the very first black hole.
Yeah, now
And
they've
like
already
the
looted
moon
it.
landing, they faked it. You want